With James Gunn confirming that Darkseid isn't going to play the role of the big bad of the DC universe, I think I know the future of the DCU. Hi, I'm Jordan the Nerd of Gold, and not too long ago I laid out a case for how salvation isn't going to be the origin of any kind of crisis event, it's going to be the origin of the Legion of Doom. Now, the reason I think this is because look at the history of the DC universe so far. The government doesn't have any real countermeasures to any metahumans. They've relied basically on metahumans being benevolent enough to stop the bad ones. There are some countermeasures that we have seen, such as the armored knights over in Creature Commandos in that other country whose name I'm forgetting at the moment, but there's no real major countermeasure to who the metahumans are. They can only imprison them, use prison bombs, and now salvation is going to be getting rid of them entirely. Now, I think when they try to get rid of the metahumans entirely, they are going to in effect create the Legion of Doom. It could also be known as the Injustice League or the Secret Society of Supervillains. It doesn't really matter which name you choose. It's going to lead to the villains working together, coming back to Earth and trying to control it. And that's where we're going to see the collapse of the control system that the DC US government has relied on. And then that's going to lead to an arms race. And this arms race, I think, is going to lead to the General. The General, for those of you who don't know, is a character who General Wade Ealing was a general in the Air Force who then used the body of the Shaggy Man, an old Justice League enemy who was so brutally strong that he could fight the entire Justice League but didn't really have much of a mind. So this general, dying, transferred his own mind into the body of the Shaggy Man, shaved off, and became this terrifying, hulking creature with one of the greatest military minds on Earth. And then he took the fight to the Justice League. I think this is a great future villain, and this is how we plant seeds for the future of ongoing conflicts throughout the DC universe, so that way there is story coming forward one piece after another. In a sense, there's forward momentum. There's always consequences to what is going to be happening. And I think that we're going to see the General eventually lead to the creation of Amazo, because Amazo is kind of the ultimate counter to any Justice League or any metahuman, because he can copy any powers. The General is just phase one of a countermeasure, the Amazo being the end goal of any countermeasures to any metahumans. And then maybe eventually we get some kind of external threat like Brainiac coming back, because I don't think he's going to die in the Man of Tomorrow, because I still think Brainiac is going to be the main villain there. But yeah, I think we're going to see these dominoes collapse into each other. The collapse of the US prison system that has controlled metahumans so far, leading to the Legion of Doom, which leads to the arm race that leads to the General, and then to Amazo, and then this leads back to intergalactic conflict as the scale continues to get bigger. And we don't just think that all of this is taking place on Earth, that there isn't some crisis that will eventually come, but it's not going to come before we see this conflict and how the world is changed by the existence of metahumans who are trying to make the world a better place.